Hello, and welcome to Elder Insights. I hope you're feeling great today. Whether you're enjoying a relaxing morning or preparing a delicious meal, we all know that the kitchen is a space where we spend a lot of time. But as we age, our habits and needs in the kitchen can change. Maybe you've noticed that certain items you once used regularly now feel cumbersome or unnecessary. Perhaps your energy isn't what it used to be, or the thought of searching through a cluttered drawer for a specific tool feels a bit overwhelming. That's why today, we're talking about something that can make a big difference in your daily life: decluttering your kitchen. Over time, we tend to accumulate all sorts of kitchen items that no longer serve us the way they used to. By simplifying the space and removing those unnecessary tools, you can create a kitchen that's more functional, efficient, and even enjoyable to work in. In this video, we'll be diving into 17 everyday kitchen items that seniors no longer need, focusing on the ones that can make your kitchen feel more organized and accessible. Whether it's bulky gadgets, excessive utensils, or outdated cookware, we'll show you how to streamline your kitchen so that it fits your current needs and lifestyle. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, please give us a like, share it with someone who might benefit from it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Your support really helps us continue creating valuable content for you. Item 1. Old, bulky kitchen gadgets. Let's talk about something many of us have tucked away in the kitchen: old, bulky gadgets. You know the ones, those heavy stand mixers, large blenders, or food processors that once seemed like great purchases. But over time, as our energy levels change and our joints start to feel the strain, these appliances can become more of a hassle than a help. I know it's easy to fall into the trap of holding on to these items because they were so useful in the past. Maybe you've had your big blender for years, and while it made smoothies and soups in a snap when you were younger, now it's difficult to even pull it out of the cupboard without feeling like it's too much to handle. The weight, the size, and all the pieces to assemble, it can be exhausting. And let's not forget about the mess. Have you ever found yourself cleaning out a food processor, only to end up with pieces of food stuck in corners that you can barely reach? Or perhaps you've tried lifting that heavy stand mixer only to find it's just too much effort now, especially when you're only making a small batch of dough. So, how do we solve this? Let's start by replacing these bulky gadgets with lighter, more efficient alternatives. Instead of that big blender, try a handheld immersion blender. It's much easier to store, clean, and use, perfect for making smoothies or soups without the hassle of a large machine. Another great option could be a small, simple food chopper, which can handle chopping and slicing tasks without the heavy lifting. By swapping out those cumbersome gadgets, you'll not only create more space in your kitchen, but you'll also make cooking and meal prep much more manageable. It's all about simplifying and making life easier, one tool at a time. Item 2. Excessive kitchen utensils. If you're anything like me, you might have a drawer full of utensils: spatulas, ladles, whisks, and tongs, each one taking up valuable space. At one point, each of these items might have seemed essential, but as time goes on, you may find yourself reaching for the same few favorites and ignoring the rest. And let's be honest, sometimes it feels like these utensils are multiplying overnight, doesn't it? I've certainly found myself digging through a cluttered drawer to find that one spatula or spoon that's just the right size, only to discover that there are too many to choose from. Then, if you have arthritis or limited hand strength, gripping some of those utensils can be difficult. They might not feel as comfortable as they once did, and trying to handle them can slow down the cooking process. So, how can we simplify and make things easier? The first step is to reduce the number of utensils you keep. Take a good look at your drawer and ask yourself, which ones do I use every day? It's probably just a handful of utensils, maybe a spatula, a soup spoon, and a set of tongs. By keeping only the essentials, you free up space and make it easier to grab what you need without the struggle. Choosing ergonomic utensils with soft, Comfortable grips can also make a huge difference, especially for seniors with arthritis or limited dexterity. Tools like a simple, sturdy spatula or a multi-purpose spoon can help make cooking faster and less stressful. By decluttering your utensils, you're not only creating a more organized kitchen, but you're also making the cooking process more enjoyable and less tiring. Item 3. Overstuffed spice rack. Spices. They bring flavor and excitement to our meals, but over the years, our spice racks can easily get overcrowded with half-used jars and forgotten bottles. You might have found yourself in this situation, standing in front of a cluttered spice rack, trying to figure out which bottle of turmeric you've had since the 80s, only to realize it's too old to be effective. Or maybe you've noticed that you have 3 bottles of cinnamon, one in the spice cabinet, one in the pantry, and one that's been buried at the back of the cupboard. I know I've been there myself. It can be overwhelming to sift through all those spices, and if you're dealing with limited space or storage, it only adds to the frustration. Plus, if you're not using them regularly, they can end up going to waste. But here's the thing. Keeping a cluttered spice rack doesn't just waste space, it also wastes time and energy. As we age, bending down to access jars on lower shelves or reaching for spices that are buried in the back can become tiring or even risky. So, what's the solution? Let's simplify. Start by getting rid of any spices that are expired or rarely used. Focus on the few essentials that you use every day: salt, pepper, garlic powder, basil, cinnamon, and maybe a couple of others. Instead of keeping multiple jars of the same spice, buy refills or just keep the one you use most often. Organizing your spices into an easy-to-reach area, like a small container or drawer, can help too. If you have trouble with small bottles, consider getting spice jars with bigger labels or even a spice rack that can be mounted on the wall, saving precious cabinet space. By decluttering your spice rack, you'll not only create more space, but also make cooking much more enjoyable and less stressful. Item 4. Outdated or worn-out cookware. Let's talk about something we all use in the kitchen: cookware. Whether it's a beloved frying pan or a heavy pot that's been in your kitchen for years, cookware is something we tend to hold on to, often long past its prime. But have you ever tried lifting a heavy, old pot only to realize it's much more difficult than it used to be? Or maybe you've noticed that your nonstick frying pan is starting to lose its coating, making it harder to cook without everything sticking. I know I've struggled with this too, especially when trying to cook a simple meal without the added stress of heavy pots and pans that are a little too worn out. These worn-out pots and pans can also be harder to clean, and let's face it, cleaning up after cooking can feel like a bigger task than the cooking itself. When pots and pans start to lose their effectiveness, it can make cooking feel more like a chore than a fun activity. So, what's the fix? The solution is simple. Replace your old cookware with lighter, more modern alternatives. Look for pots and pans that are non-stick, easy to clean, and lightweight. There are many newer cookware options out there that make cooking a lot easier for seniors, like those with soft touch handles or those made from lighter materials that won't strain your wrists or arms. Item 5. Too many baking pans. If you're like me, you may have accumulated a number of baking pans over the years. Whether it's loaf pans, muffin tins, cookie sheets, or casserole dishes, they can quickly pile up in the kitchen. At one point, these baking pans were used regularly, but as we get older, baking may not be as frequent or as easy as it once was. It's easy to end up with a collection of pans that sit in the cupboard, collecting dust, especially when we start cooking fewer large meals or baking less often. I know that I've struggled with finding space for all these pans, and sometimes I realize I'm holding on to ones I never use. And let's be honest, baking can require a lot of effort, and lifting heavy pans out of high shelves or awkward cabinets is no longer as easy as it once was. So, how do we handle this? The solution is to reduce the number of pans you keep and focus on the essentials. Do you really need 3 different sizes of muffin tins or 6 casserole dishes? Probably not. Keep just the few pans you use most often, maybe a versatile baking sheet, a sturdy loaf pan, and one casserole dish. By clearing out those extra pans, you'll save space in your cabinets and make it easier to find what you need when you do decide to bake. It's all about simplifying your kitchen and only keeping what's necessary. Item 6. Excessive glassware. We've all been there. Our kitchen shelves filled with glasses. Over time, we may end up with an assortment of glassware that's hard to manage, whether it's from dinner parties, gifts, or just accumulating over the years. But when was the last time you really used all of them? I know I've found myself reaching for the same few glasses over and over, while the rest sit in the cupboard, taking up space. And here's the thing, glassware can be surprisingly difficult to handle, especially if some are too tall, too heavy, or have delicate stems that are hard to grip. If you're dealing with arthritis or weaker grip strength, it can feel like an unnecessary challenge every time you need a simple glass of water or juice. Now, instead of holding on to every glass you've collected, consider what you actually use. You probably only need a few sturdy, easy-to-hold glasses for everyday use. Consider opting for glasses that have a thicker base or those designed for easier gripping. A small set of versatile glasses that can handle everything from your morning juice to a warm cup of tea can work wonders. Not only will simplifying your glassware make your kitchen feel more spacious, but it will also make your everyday routine smoother. Fewer glasses mean less to clean, store, and rummage through. Item 7. Excessive plastic containers. If you've spent any amount of time in the kitchen, chances are you've accumulated a lot of plastic containers over the years. It's easy to get caught up in the idea of just in case. Maybe you have an extra set tucked away for leftovers or for storing snacks. But after a while, those plastic containers can begin to take over, filling up cabinets, drawers, and even the countertops. And let's be honest, most of us don't have the patience to search through a mountain of mismatched lids and containers. I've certainly been there myself. I can't tell you how many times I've spent minutes, sometimes even longer, searching for the right lid for a container that I've barely used. Then, there's the frustration of having containers that crack or lids that don't fit anymore. These mismatched pieces make it harder to stay organized, and it's not as easy to store food efficiently. So, what's the fix? It's time to streamline your storage containers. Start by ditching the mismatched, cracked, or old containers. Keep only the ones that are in good shape and stack neatly. Consider investing in a set of high-quality, durable containers that are easy to open and close, with matching lids. You can even go for glass containers if you want to avoid potential health concerns related to plastics. The key is to make sure that everything has a matching lid and is easy to access when needed. By reducing the clutter of plastic containers, your kitchen will feel much more organized and meal prep will be much less of a hassle. You'll know exactly where your containers are, and storing leftovers will become a breeze. Item 8. Kitchen gadgets that do one job. Let's talk about those specialized kitchen gadgets that do just one thing. You know the ones I mean. Maybe it's a corn-on-the-cob stripper, an avocado slicer, or a cherry pitter. They might seem like convenient tools at first, but over time, they can add up and clutter your kitchen space, especially when they're only used occasionally. I've had my fair share of these gadgets, and I'll be the first to admit, many of them just sit there, taking up valuable drawer space and never really earning their keep. And here's the thing, if you're like me, you might find yourself reaching for a gadget only to realize that it doesn't really fit the task at hand. Using a watermelon slicer when a regular knife could do the trick? Or pulling out a garlic press when a simple knife and cutting board would work just fine. The problem is that these single-purpose gadgets can be frustratingly redundant. So, what's the solution? Simplify by opting for multifunctional tools instead of having a drawer full of one-job gadgets. Instead of a corn stripper and an avocado slicer, look for a tool that can handle both, or better yet, use a good, sharp knife that does it all. A solid peeler can replace several specialized tools in your kitchen. By keeping only the essentials, those tools that can serve more than one purpose, you'll reduce clutter, save space, and make cooking easier. This approach will make your kitchen feel less crowded, and you'll find yourself using your space and tools more effectively, without the hassle of extra gadgets you don't really need. Item 9. Extra kitchen towels and cloths. How many kitchen towels do you have? I'm sure we all start off with just a couple, but over time, they tend to multiply, especially when we have different ones for drying dishes, wiping countertops, or even cleaning up spills. I know I found myself with a drawer full of towels, some old and frayed, some with stains, and before I know it, they're cluttering up my space and making it harder to find the clean, fresh towels I actually need. It can also get overwhelming to keep track of so many towels, especially if you're constantly doing laundry to keep them all clean. And when you need a towel quickly, having too many options can actually slow you down instead of making things more convenient. So, what's the best way to tackle this? Start by simplifying. Keep only the towels you use regularly and get rid of the old, worn-out ones that no longer serve you. You don't need 10 towels for just a few tasks. Instead, aim to keep just a few quality towels for different needs, one for drying dishes, one for wiping down counters, and one or two for cleaning up messes. This approach not only clears up space in your kitchen, but also makes it easier to find the right towel when you need it. Plus, with fewer towels to wash and store, you'll be able to keep things neat and simple. Item 10. Old, mismatched dinnerware. We all have that collection of dinnerware, some pieces we've had for years, others picked up from different places. I know I have plates that were gifted to me, bowls from a set I bought years ago, and cups that no longer match. But after a while, these mismatched items can create more frustration than convenience. I've definitely had the experience of looking for a matching plate, only to realize that half of my set is chipped, and I'm left with odd pieces that don't fit together. Not to mention, when you're setting the table, it's hard to make it feel cohesive when everything looks different. As we get older, we may also notice that heavier dinnerware can be harder to handle, especially when we have to stack or lift large plates. It can be tough on our hands, and it often makes mealtime feel like more of a chore than something enjoyable. So, what can we do to fix this? It's time to simplify your dinnerware. Start by getting rid of any chipped, cracked, or mismatched pieces. Replace them with a set of lightweight, durable plates and bowls that are easy to handle and store. A matching set not only looks great, but it also makes mealtime easier and less stressful, as everything is consistent and fits neatly together. By investing in a smaller, cohesive set, you'll make your kitchen feel more organized and pleasant, and you'll have fewer dishes to manage, which makes cleanup a breeze. Item 11. Large collection of knives. Let's talk about knives. Over time, many of us collect a variety of knives, each one meant for a specific task. Paring knives, chef's knives, bread knives, serrated knives, and the list goes on. I know I've had the experience of standing in front of my knife block, trying to decide which knife to use for the job at hand, only to realize that I don't actually need half of them. There's no need for a drawer full of knives that you rarely use. And if you're like me, as the years go by, your hands may not be as steady or as strong as they once were. Trying to grip a large, heavy knife or maneuver a serrated blade for cutting bread can become a challenge. It's not just about having too many knives, but about finding the right one that feels comfortable and easy to use. So, what's the solution? Instead of holding on to a full collection of knives, consider keeping just a few high-quality, versatile ones. A sharp chef's knife, a small paring knife, and maybe one other utility knife should cover almost all of your needs. Look for knives with ergonomic handles that provide a comfortable grip and reduce strain on your hands. By simplifying your knife collection, you'll not only free up space in your kitchen, but also make meal prep easier and more comfortable, without the need for an overwhelming assortment of knives. Item 12. Unnecessary decorative items. We all love a little decoration in our homes, but over time, those little decorative items can start to take up more space than we realize. It might be that collection of ceramic figurines, the fancy trays that are never used, or the knickknacks that have been gathering dust on the countertop. I know I've had a few things in my kitchen that I thought would add charm, but eventually, they just ended up as clutter. And as we age, it can get harder to clean around these items, and they can even get in the way when you're trying to use your kitchen space efficiently. While decorations can add personality to your kitchen, having too many of them can make the space feel cramped and harder to navigate. The last thing you want is to be reaching for an item on a high shelf and accidentally knocking over a fragile decoration. Not to mention, cleaning those extra decorative pieces can become more of a chore than a pleasure, especially if they're tucked away in hard-to-reach places. So, how do we make the kitchen more functional and less cluttered? Start by removing any decorative items that aren't serving a purpose. If you have things that are just taking up space, it's time to let go. Keep only the items that bring you joy and that are practical to use. A couple of decorative plants or a colorful bowl might add the charm you're looking for, but without the clutter. By cutting down on unnecessary decorative items, you'll create a kitchen that feels more spacious, more functional, and easier to navigate, without sacrificing that personal touch. Item 13. Outdated or unused cookbooks. Cookbooks. For many of us, they've been a staple in the kitchen, offering new recipes and inspiration over the years. But have you ever found yourself flipping through one of those thick cookbooks only to realize you haven't used it in months, maybe even years? I know I've had a collection of cookbooks that once seemed essential, but over time, I found myself turning to the internet for quick and easy recipes instead. The problem is, these old cookbooks can take up a lot of shelf space. And with digital recipes readily available on our phones or tablets, flipping through a large cookbook doesn't seem as practical as it once did. Plus, those recipes that seemed so appealing when I first bought the book might not even be relevant to my current eating habits or health needs. So, what's the best way to handle this? It's time to streamline your cookbook collection. If you're not using those massive hardcover books anymore, consider donating them or storing them in a place where they won't take up prime kitchen space. Instead, focus on just a few cookbooks that align with your current interests, or even better, use digital tools, apps, and websites that offer quick access to new recipes. By letting go of outdated cookbooks, you'll free up space for the tools you actually use, and your kitchen will feel more organized and functional. Plus, having a digital recipe collection can make meal prep faster and easier, with no more flipping through pages. Item 14. Old or broken storage containers. Storage containers. They're a kitchen essential, but over time, they can become a source of frustration, especially when you find yourself searching through a pile of mismatched containers and lids that don't fit. I know I've had my fair share of containers that were too worn out to hold food properly, or lids that didn't seal tightly anymore. And let's be honest, how many times have you tried to stack containers, only to realize they don't fit together because they're all different sizes and shapes? As we get older, organizing these containers can feel like a never-ending puzzle. It takes up valuable kitchen space and wastes time when you're just trying to find something to store leftovers. And if you've got cracked containers or lids that don't fit, they're not doing you any favors. They can lead to spills or wasted food. So, how do we solve this? Start by going through your storage containers and getting rid of any that are cracked, stained, or don't have matching lids. Replace them with a set of durable, stackable containers that come with tight-fitting lids. You can even choose glass containers, which are easy to clean, don't stain, and won't wear out like plastic. By simplifying your storage container collection, you'll not only make your kitchen more organized, but you'll also reduce the frustration that comes with mismatched containers. It'll be much easier to store leftovers, and your kitchen will feel a lot more streamlined. Item 15. Excessive cleaning products. We all want our kitchens to be clean and tidy, but over time, we often find ourselves collecting a multitude of cleaning products, each one for a different surface, spill, or mess. I know I've had the experience of standing in front of a crowded cleaning supply shelf, wondering which bottle to grab for a simple task. It can be overwhelming to have so many different products, each with its own label and instructions. And honestly, I've found that sometimes they end up just taking up space, not to mention the time it takes to figure out which one to use. As we get older, bending down to access these cleaning supplies or reaching for high shelves can become more challenging. Plus, the more products you have, the more cleaning and organizing they require. It can quickly feel like a daunting task just to keep everything in order. So, how can we simplify? The solution is to streamline your cleaning products. Start by keeping just the essentials, perhaps one all-purpose cleaner, one for the floors, and a good dish soap. Look for multi-purpose cleaners that can handle a variety of tasks, reducing the need for multiple bottles. You'll save space, time, and energy, making cleaning a much less stressful experience. By decluttering your cleaning products, you'll not only make your kitchen feel more organized, but you'll also make the whole cleaning process simpler, quicker, and easier to manage. Item 16. Large collection of glasses and cups. How many glasses and cups do you have in your kitchen? Over the years, it's easy to accumulate different types for every occasion. Wine glasses, coffee mugs, water glasses, tumblers, and even the ones we use only on special occasions. I've definitely had my fair share of glasses I rarely used but kept just because they looked nice or were given as gifts. The problem is, when you have too many glasses, it can make your kitchen feel crowded and disorganized. It becomes harder to find the right glass when you need it, and before you know it, you're dealing with a stack of mismatched pieces. Not to mention, some of those glasses might not be the easiest to hold, especially if you're dealing with hand or wrist discomfort. Heavy or thin glasses can make pouring or drinking a bit more challenging, and cleaning them might require more care than they're worth. So, what's the solution? It's time to simplify. Choose a small, practical collection of glasses that you actually use and enjoy. Consider getting a set of sturdy, versatile glasses, those that can work for everything from a quick cup of water to an evening of wine with friends. By reducing the number of glasses in your kitchen, you'll not only create more space, but also make it easier to access and store them. Plus, fewer glasses mean less to clean and put away, which is always a win. Item 17. Excessive kitchen organizers or baskets. As we look to simplify and organize our kitchens, it's easy to go a little overboard with organizers. You know the ones: plastic bins, baskets, drawer dividers, and storage trays. While they can help keep things neat at first, too many organizers can end up doing the opposite. You might find that you filled them with things you don't need, or that they just take up space without adding real function. I know I've been guilty of over-organizing, thinking that adding another basket or tray will make everything perfect, but it just ended up adding another layer of complexity. And let's not forget how these organizers can make it harder to find things. With so many compartments, you might end up with even more hidden areas, and suddenly it's a chore to dig through baskets to find what you need. So, how can we simplify? Take a step back and assess the organizers you really need. Keep only the baskets or trays that serve a clear purpose, those that help you store items you regularly use or need to access quickly. Instead of overloading the kitchen with multiple organizers, opt for a few multi-purpose ones that can help you streamline storage without making the kitchen feel crowded or hard to navigate. By reducing the number of organizers, you'll not only create a more functional kitchen, but also a more peaceful one. It'll be easier to find what you need, and everything will have its proper place without all the extra clutter. And that brings us to the end of our list of 17 kitchen items that seniors no longer need. By making just a few simple changes, decluttering, simplifying, and upgrading, you can transform your kitchen into a more functional, comfortable space that suits your current needs. No more struggling with heavy gadgets, digging through mismatched containers, or feeling overwhelmed by unnecessary items. Instead, you'll have a kitchen that works for you, not against you. Remember, it's not about getting rid of everything, but about keeping what truly adds value to your daily routine. Whether it's lightweight cookware, versatile utensils, or a streamlined set of storage containers, these small changes can make a big difference in how you move through your kitchen. Plus, by freeing up space and reducing clutter, you'll make your cooking and meal prep a lot more enjoyable and less physically taxing. We hope you found these tips helpful and that they inspire you to take a fresh look at your own kitchen. If you have any favorite organizing tips or kitchen items you found helpful, feel free to share them with us in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more helpful content. Your support really motivates us to keep creating valuable, practical tips for you. Thanks for watching, and remember, simplifying your kitchen isn't just about clearing space, it's about making your life a little easier, one item at a time.